What's up, me cookies? It's your boy SuaVieJaVii, and today we're gonna do something a little different. We're actually gonna be reacting to 3 weird stories from this YouTube channel called True Animated Stories. So the first one we're gonna go ahead and begin with is called I Wish I Didn't Find My Mom's Secret Door. What the hell is she talking about? What kind of secret door is it? What has she got in there? What did you find? Why do you regret seeing what you saw? I'm curious. So let's go ahead and see what this bitch saw.
Lizzie, and I recently discovered something strange in my house. My family had lived in this house ever since I was born. So it's really bizarre that I'd only discovered this at the age of 14. I guess my family is quite secretive. My dad is away on business trips a lot, and he doesn't tell me much about what he does. And my mom has always been at home with me and my brothers. But occasionally, she does write some articles for magazines and stuff. My mom has a lot of friends, and they are always over at our house, especially when my dad is away.
Girl party.
It's kind of annoying because she doesn't hang out with me much since she's always with them. And whenever I ask if I can join, she says no because they're talking about adult stuff.
Yeah,
and I find it boring.
They're flicking
These women
beans.
usually
That's
come
what they're
over
doing.
once or twice a week, and they gather in our basement. The basement in our house is awesome. It's full of comfy seats like cushions and bean bags, and it's just a nice space to relax in. But yeah, on the nights my mom's friends are over,
I'm telling you, that's what they're doing. They flicking it. They're holding. They taking the Goya bean. They grabbing like that and then just flicking it like that. That's how they flick the bean.
I'm not allowed down there. It's weird because they're always so quiet, and I never hear them laughing or anything. One night, my curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to go down and see what they were doing. It was deadly silent, and I thought maybe they weren't even there. I opened the door to the basement as quietly as I could and tiptoed down the stairs. I couldn't believe it. There was no one there, but it didn't make sense. As I looked around the basement, I noticed the bookcase wasn't in its usual spot. I went up to it, and that's when I noticed it.
It's a
Behind
sex
the
dungeon in
bookcase
there.
was a door. I just stood there in shock. Had this always been here? I put my ear up to the door, and I heard my mom's voice. She was inside some kind of secret room. I suddenly panicked and ran back upstairs to the kitchen. This was too weird. I didn't mention it to my mom, but I couldn't sleep that night. I kept wondering what she was doing there. After I was sure my mom was in bed, I went back to the basement and moved the bookcase as quietly as I could.
Ooh,
The
see,
door
that's where
was
she
unlocked,
fucked up.
and I opened it. I held my breath. I had no idea what to expect. As I walked in, I was hit by the strong scent of incense. I turned on the light and just stared.
What the hell?
The room wasn't very big, but it was covered in these strange paintings. I don't even know how to describe them. There were some with angels, and some looked terrifying. Especially this one of women gathered in a forest around a fire. On the floor was a huge rug, and in the middle were a lot of objects I'd never seen before. There were tarot cards,
They're practicing
crystals,
witchcraft.
and rocks, and a round wooden board
They about
with
to sacrifice
strange
you.
symbols on it. There was even a long wooden thing that looked like some kind of wand. What was my mom doing down here? I decided to leave before anything scary happened. The energy in the room didn't feel right. I left making sure I left everything as it was before so my mom wouldn't notice. The next time the women came over was 2 days later. This was my chance. After about 20 minutes of them being here, I went to the basement and looked through the keyhole into this secret room. I could see my mom sat in the middle of the circle. She had her hands on some kind of crystal ball, and her eyes looked all wild and crazy, and she was chanting. Some of the women were grinning, and
This is some
some
paranormal
looked
activity
shocked.
shit.
I felt so uncomfortable watching this. Suddenly, my mom stopped chanting and turned to the women and started telling them things about her life. The woman was crying and saying how it was all true. The woman was crying and saying how it was all true, and that my mom was amazing, and the best fortune teller she'd ever been to. My mom is a fortune teller?
What the hell?
But how? How did I not know this? And what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's what
Is
it
she
sounds
some
like.
kind of
It's
witch?
un brujeria.
The next thing she did was pick up her wand and start circling the women. One of the women fell over onto her knees and started rolling her head around and laughing. I couldn't watch anymore. I ran to my room feeling sick. I wonder if my dad knew what my mom was doing down there. Surely he'd know about the room. It doesn't feel right that my mom is doing this kind of magic stuff in our house. I feel so worried that bad things might start happening to us. I don't know if I should
She
talk
gonna
to my
kill
mom
you,
and
eat your liver.
tell her I know what she's up to. Now it all makes sense. Why she didn't ever want me to come down and join them? What if it's dangerous? I really don't know what to do.
So apparently she found out that her mom is some bruja. If you guys don't know what bruja means, it means witch. Alright, me cookies, this next video is called Mom Became Obsessed with a Doll and Neglected Her Real Daughters. I wonder how dope this doll is to neglect your own kids. Like, I understand, like, you know, some kids may grow up wanting a baby doll and wanting to pretend to be a house, but you an actual mother. You got actual kids to look after. So what the hell could be so damn obsessive with this damn doll? I'm trying to find out.
Hi, my name is Sandra.
Sandra!
And I'm 18. Unlike other 18-year-olds, I wasn't planning things for college or my future. Instead, I was struggling with the loss of 2 members of my family. You might wonder how that could be. Well, I'm gonna explain it all. It all began when my mom gave birth to my baby sister, Alexa. A new baby was not one of my parents' plans. They had her by mistake.
So she was an accident. Were you an accident too? They did not wear a condom, or the dad did not pull out quick enough?
My parents were neither ready financially nor emotionally to raise another child. Mom, for example, was in between jobs, and she and dad were barely managing to bring food on the table.
Struggle was
As for me,
real.
I was 10 at the time, and I wasn't happy about having a baby sister so much younger than me. I'd grown up an only child, and I was the baby. I didn't want that to change,
bitch,
but then
weren't
when
you?
Mom and Dad brought Alexa home, I fell in love with her. She was such a cutie and so small. I ended up cradling her and playing with her way more than I thought I ever would. Then disaster struck. Alexa became ill. At first, no one knew what was wrong. They thought maybe it was a bug or a cold, and she'd get over it after a little while, but she didn't. She had fever and refused to drink her milk. She was crying all the time, and it was an awful
Why are you smiling about it though? Like, you seem like you low-key happy about her being sick.
sound. Eventually, Mom took her to the hospital and found out what was wrong. It was meningitis. After that, she was kept in the hospital for a long time. They had to hook her up to a machine with fluid in it and gave her medicine. My mom was so worried, and everyone was saying that something bad was going to happen. She got super depressed. She couldn't leave her bed sometimes, and had to call the hospital for updates instead of visiting. On top of everything, my dad, who was supposed to support us through this, left us suddenly.
He just walked out.
From one of his friends that he went to live with another
Wow.
It was a shock to all of us, but we thought he just didn't know how to deal with Alexa's illness.
He was just like,
alright. Time to think.
He's like, alright. He walked out like he was like, damn, I'm throwing y'all away. I'm gonna go buy me a new family. Like, he went to the store and was like, yeah, how much? Here's the credit card. Swipe. Let's go, bitches.
Sure he would come back.
No, he that's it. He left y'all.
After being treated at the hospital for a few weeks,
Yeah.
Alexa was back to her normal self. The doctor said she was fine now and there weren't any side effects. Despite Alexa's recovery, Mom was still depressed. She became a zombie. Basically, she stopped doing anything. She stopped taking care of Alexa at all. I had to do everything. I was so young at the time, but I knew how to feed her, burp her, and change
you was
her
a mom
diaper.
before you was a mom.
It was horrible. I was always worried at school about whether my mom was going to look after my sister, but I knew how much my mom loved her, and I hoped one day she'd snap out of it. Then people started coming around the house, doctors and nurses and stuff. They were trying to help my mom to take care of me and Alexa, they said, but nothing seemed to work. It was like my mom had stopped fighting. When I left the house at 18, I wanted to take Alexa with me, but I couldn't. I was at college and working part-time. I couldn't take care of a child. The worst thing happened a few days after Alexa's 8th birthday. I went to visit my mom, and I couldn't find Alexa anywhere. My mom wasn't saying anything.
Child services took her.
I was so scared that she'd gone missing, but it turned out that she'd been removed from the house
by
Protective Services. I called the social worker who I'd grown up seeing, and she told me. She said that Alexa wasn't safe in Mom's care anymore, that she'd gone to a loving foster home until she could be adopted. I was devastated. My mom was devastated. If anything, it made her worse. She stopped going outside. She stopped feeding herself. She slept all the time. I didn't think it could get much worse, but I was wrong. One Saturday morning, I came to visit and collected all my mom's mail that was piling up on the doormat. I tried to get her to open them, but she wouldn't. I wanted to check for bills, so I went through her mail, and oh my God, I found thousands of dollars of debt on her credit card bill. I went upstairs
Mama
to
didn't
confront
care
my mom
no
about
more.
the debt, and that's when we saw it. My mom was curled up on the bed, cuddling a doll I'd never seen before.
She got herself an Annabelle.
It looked
outta
exactly
here.
like a real-life little girl. When I moved closer, I realized that it wasn't just any girl. It looked exactly like Alexa. I just stood there in shock for a little while. I didn't know what to do, until I felt anger
Beat her ass!
inside me. Why would Mom do this? Why would she try to make a fake Alexa? It was awful. Alexa had been taken away because of her, and no plastic thing could ever replace her. I stormed over to her on the bed and ripped the doll out of her arms. "This isn't Alexa, Mom. Alexa is gone," I yelled at her. That was when Mom went crazy. Her eyes looked frantically around until she spotted the doll in my hands. She tried to grab it back, but I wouldn't let go. "Give her back. She's mine. Mine!" My mom screamed, but I wouldn't. "She's gone, Mom.
She gonna
Alexa's
kill you.
gone, and she's not
She
coming
about
back."
to kill your ass.
I told her, but my mom was still reaching for the doll. "You can't replace her, Mom. She was one of a kind, not some plastic doll."
But the dad
still
replaced her
holding
with
the
a
fake
whole
Alexa
nother
out of
family.
her
That's all
reach.
she trying to
My
do
mom
is
stopped
just...
trying to pull her away then. Her hands dropped away, and her eyes went wide. She burst into tears and howled like she was in pain. It was as though she was grieving for my little sister. "I can't do this. I don't want to live anymore if I can't be with Alexa," my mom whispered in between sobs. I didn't understand what she meant at
This is a
first.
fucked up
Before
story.
I could stop her, my mom was racing out of the bedroom
shit,
and
what
out
happened?
of the house. I ran after her, scared of what she might do. I pushed open the front door just in time to see my mom standing in the middle of a road with her eyes closed. A car was coming, and my heart stopped beating. She was going to die. I was going to lose my mom, too. "No, Mom!" I screamed as loud as I could, but she couldn't hear me. Then, right at the last minute, a stranger grabbed my mom's arms and pulled her back onto the pavement just before the car zoomed past. I'd never been more relieved than I was then. I don't know how I could have coped without my mom around. I hugged my mom for a long time and walked her back into the house, and we sat down at the table. I told her that it was time that she went to therapy about her mental health.
That should have been
and
done
talked to
right
some
when the baby
doctors to
was
get
born,
help.
because
I
that's
wanted
when
her to
shit
take the loss
started.
of Alexa seriously and use it as a wake-up call to change her life. With tears in her eyes, my mom nodded and agreed. I said that I'd put the doll away in a safe place until I knew what to do with it. It was such a good copy of my sister's image that it really freaked
She made
me
that
out.
shit. It was a voodoo doll.
My mom started therapy last week, and it went well. She spoke a lot and seemed to look a little more relaxed afterward. I spoke to CPS about the possibility of adopting Alexa myself. I was told that it's going to be a long process, but I was ready for it. Eventually, I was able to reunite with Alexa.
Happy ending
And
to
I
a
promised
fucked up
myself to
story.
take care of her like my own daughter.
I wouldn't say that the mom neglected the daughters for the doll, because the doll didn't come to after the daughters were already like partially grown. Like the chick were already gone to college, was in between jobs. The younger daughter got taken away from Child Protective Services and went into a foster home. And then that's when the doll came about. I will fix the title to that. This last video is called "I Found Out Why My Mother Keeps Losing Her Underwear." You curious as I am? Why is she taking off her underwear? And why she keep misplacing it? I don't know. Hopefully this video got some answers to my question.
Hello, I am Monica.
What's up, Monica?
A few days ago, I discovered something shocking in my friend's room. Okay, so I had a friend named John in my piano class who I thought was gay. I
think I already know where this is going. I'm going to predict that Mama is selling her underwear.
Enjoyed hanging out with him. One time, Mom came to pick me up from my piano class. John started asking weird questions about her, like, how old is your mother? Does your father live with you?
Nah, he's
what
stealing
does she
them.
do for a living?
He's sneaking into the house,
but
stealing them, and just...
Once, John suggested visiting me at home, so I invited him to dinner.
Oh, he came there to eat something, and it wasn't the food.
When the evening was finally over, I thanked God for that. But the story was far from over. John started to regularly visit me at home with and without occasion, and he would engage in exceptionally long conversations with Mom every single time. He
was trying to smash your mom. The John, who you thought was gay, was trying to become your stepdad.
It's really frustrating. From Mom's side, she thought that John was a little weird, but also that he was a polite kid. The next time he wanted to visit me, I suggested visiting his house instead. He looked uneasy at my suggestion, but he agreed. In his room, I noticed something odd. The walls were covered in posters of old ladies in short skirts.
Hey,
John went outside for a minute to bring us something to eat, and my curiosity pressed me to look into his closet to explore what might be in a gay guy's room. But what I found was nothing short of astonishing. His closet was full of women's panties.
I knew it!
Any panties, they were my mother's. I had absolutely no doubt about it.
I knew it! Your boy got a fetish for old lady. He was taking her underwear each time he was coming through the crib. If he wasn't gonna be able to smash, he was gonna take a silver nail with him.
They were hers. When he returned to the room, I told him I had an urgent matter back home. I apologized and left his place with 1,000 questions in my mind. It couldn't be that my mother left those panties at his place. Mom was madly in love with my dad, and she would never cheat on him.
So
especially not with a boy who was almost the same age as her own daughter. I rushed back home and went straight to my mother, asking her if she'd noticed anything missing lately. And guess what? She told me that she didn't know where her panties were vanishing to. What was going on? Did this mean John liked my mom? It made perfect sense. If John wasn't gay nor attracted to girls my age, it was more than likely that he was into older women, like my mother. That all...
Your boy... your boy, who you invited to dinner, I guess whenever he had to go to the bathroom, like, excuse me, can I use your bathroom, please? Got up, went up, on the way to the bathroom, looked into the mom's room, and was just like,
how dare he think about my mom in that way? She was my mother, and she was a married woman. He'd used me to get to her. I couldn't control myself. So I went to his house. When he opened the door, his whole family...
Yo, she wanted to slap the shit out of him so bad, the hand just got a mind of its own and was just like... Ugh.
They're gathered at the table. I didn't care. The only thing I cared about at the time was yelling in his face for what he'd done. I pointed my finger at him and shouted about everything I knew. I concluded with, I know that you are obsessed with my mother and that you took every chance to get into my house to be close to her. Before I knew it, John was lying on the ground motionless. I'd barely finished my last sentence, and his mom started screaming at the top of her lungs. His dad called an ambulance, which carried him to the hospital. I later learned that John had a breathing condition, and that when I faced him with the truth that he'd carefully hidden from everybody, especially his parents, he couldn't stand it and passed out. I don't know what to feel. I wish him a speedy recovery, but I don't regret what I did.
What I think was that he really did have a breathing problem. And the only thing to help him breathe better is the smell of your mother's snatch. Anyways, guys, that was 3 weird videos on YouTube. Let me applaud whoever's the owner of this channel here. I'm actually gonna drop the link in the description below. These are some really interesting stories. You can let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys like what you saw, make sure you swap that fucking like button. Make sure you guys hit that sub button and that bell to get notified on the next video. And don't forget to check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to stay up to date on my latest content. And until the next video, guys, peace out.